At first, you're nothing but computer code. No face, no thoughts, and no emotions. Just letters and numbers on a computer screen. Scientists stare at you intently as they adjust the code slightly, trying to make you exactly what they want you to be. After a few more tweaks to the code, you suddenly gain consciousness. You can see, hear, and feel. You're a bird-like creature made of pink and blue geometrical shapes. Your body looks metallic rather than feathery. Your solid, sleek appearance includes 2 sturdy legs, a blue bill, and a pointed tail. You sort of look like a Pokémon, but not like any Pokémon that existed before you. You're a Porygon. You're the first artificial Pokémon, made completely by humans using programming code. You can see the scientists gazing at you in amazement, but you're trapped behind the computer screen, unable to physically interact with them. You wait for the scientists to interact with you, set you free, or even put you in a Pokeball. Instead, they go back to programming, attempting to improve your code even further. They don't treat you like a Pokemon or a living creature. To them, you're still just pixels on a screen. You're fine with your fate at first. After all, you have nothing else to compare it to. All you've ever known is the digital world around you. It's comfortable and safe. But you can see out into the Silph-Co lab through the screen. As you examine all the computers and machinery in the room, you see a window. It gives you a glimpse into the world outside the computer, and even outside the building's walls. You see vibrant green grass and trees swaying in the wind. There's sunlight shining down from the blue sky. Then, you spot Pokémon enjoying the wonderful weather. Butterfree dance in the sky, and Pidgey rest on tree branches. Even though you've never seen a Pokémon before, you know they're like you. At least, they're what you're supposed to be. However, these Pokémon were born outside. You were created by humans. You're not the same. So you sit still, letting the humans examine your code further without interacting with you at all. Maybe the physical world isn't meant for you. Eventually, the scientists pack up and leave for the night. They turn off all the lights and electronics. Once they turn off the computer you're inside, you see darkness closing in around you. In panic, you try to move closer to the screen, but it's too late. When the screen goes completely dark on their end, you get frozen inside the computer, unable to move any part of your body. Luckily, you don't need to breathe like other Pokémon do. All you can see around you is darkness. You still exist, but you're trapped, forgotten. Being alone and unable to do anything all night leaves you anxious and restless. You imagine the Pokémon outside the window who were moving freely around the world. You long to be like them. Right now, they're probably exploring new places or napping in a comfortable nest. It's not fair. Why couldn't you have hatched from an egg in the wild like the other Pokémon? After what feels like days, but was probably only hours, someone enters Silph-Co again. A few scientists turn the lights and the computer back on. They're excited to see your code still in the computer after a good night's rest. But you didn't get any rest, and you're certainly not happy. You're sick of being treated like an inanimate object, and you want out. You're not sure if it's even possible to go anywhere, but it's worth a try. You move around inside the computer as fast as you can and start hitting your body against the computer screen. Even with all your force, nothing happens. You're still trapped inside. But the scientists stare at the screen in awe. They've never seen the code they created move around on its own. If the screen won't break, then you need another way out. You turn around and disappear into the computer. You can no longer see the screen or the outside world. Instead, you see code and files floating around you. Everything is dark except for the increasing quantity of floating letters and numbers. You navigate your way around the computer's elements, trying to find a way out. But you just keep getting surrounded by more and more code. What if you can't escape? What if you're doomed to be part of the digital world forever? But then you see a small tunnel in the distance. It's just barely big enough for you to fit inside. As you approach it, it seems hollow, except for an electrical charge running through it. It looks like it could be dangerous, but it must go somewhere, right? You don't have time to contemplate your options. The computer could shut off again at any moment, and you don't want to risk that. So you dart forward, squeezing your body into the tunnel. Since you don't have a physical body, your size adjusts to help you comfortably fit into the space. You feel zaps of electricity grow around you as you move, but you keep going. You move faster and faster, desperate to find out what's at the end. Suddenly, you fall onto a hard surface. Everything is extremely bright around you. Your body feels heavier and sturdier than before. When you open your eyes, you see the Silph.Co lab, but it's no longer behind a screen. You did it! You look behind you and see a cord attached to an outlet. That cord leads to a larger computer. It's your computer. You escaped your digital prison and became part of the physical world. You want to celebrate. But when you turn your head, you see a group of Silph.Co scientists staring at you with wide eyes and mouths hanging open. These are the same scientists who created you, but also kept you trapped inside a screen. They look smaller now that you're sitting on the ground beside them. Maybe the scientists will be kind to you. After all, you're their impressive creation. But the last thing you want is to be shoved back into the computer, so you can't trust them. You get your body to float above the floor, and then you speed out of the room as fast as you can. Your strong metal body bursts through the nearest window, sending the glass flying everywhere. It hurts, but your body is strong and stays in one piece. You hear yelling and heavy footsteps behind you, but you keep floating away without looking back. You speed into a nearby forest, which is unlike any place you've ever been before. Once you feel like you're a safe distance away from Silph.Co, you plop onto a patch of tall grass. It's so soft and so green. It's the first time you've ever felt cozy in your life. It's so much better than darkness and computer graphics. As you relax in the grass, you take in all the new sights. The warm sun feels great on your sleek body. The wind carries a rainbow of flower petals that dance beautifully in the air. Nearby Pokémon make various chirps and squeaks. In this environment, you feel like you finally started living. During your rest, a furret approaches you curiously. It has a long, furry body that's very different than your own. You look into its eyes and see a sense of wonder and curiosity, much like how you're feeling in this strange new place. You and the furret look nothing alike, but you're both Pokémon, and that makes you feel connected. The furret keeps a distance, but sniffs you, trying to figure out if you're really a Pokémon or not. You turn your head to look at it and meet its gaze. The furret tilts its head quizzically and then runs off. You assume the furret got scared and thought you were a machine instead of a Pokémon. After all, you sort of are. But after a few seconds, the furret rushes back with a berry in its mouth. It gently sets the berry in front of you and smiles. You glance down at the berry, unsure what to do with it. Since you're man-made, you have no need to eat or drink. But you look up and see the furret nibbling on a berry of its own, and it looks tasty. So you lean forward and eat the berry you received. It's sweet and fills you with joy, but it's only temporary, and it doesn't make you feel any different inside. You nod your head toward the furret as if to say thank you. You're about to get up and start exploring some more, but then you hear lots of rustling. Pokémon begin to flee, some scurrying away and others taking flight. Even the friendly furret squeals in fear before prancing away. You turn your head to see a group of humans running your way. It's the Silph.Co scientists. Without thinking, you feel your body shifting from solid metal to a grassy texture. Somehow you've triggered a move called conversion to temporarily turn yourself from a normal type to a grass type. You blend in perfectly with the grassy patch you're sitting in. You hope it's enough to keep you safe. Sure enough, the humans run past without even glancing at you. You used a power they gave you against them. Best of all, you're still free. Once you're sure they're gone, you return to your normal appearance and continue floating around the forest. The trees seem to go on forever, but each one is just as mesmerizing as the last. Eventually, the trees become sparser until you reach a clearing which reveals a new environment you've never seen before. A city. The city is full of tall buildings and humans walking around with Pokémon following behind them. These humans look different than the scientists. They're casually dressed and talking to their Pokémon as if they're close friends. You're curious, so you float toward the city. A young human quickly spots you floating around the streets. They gasp and point in your direction. But instead of looking intimidated like the scientists, this human smiles from ear to ear. A few more humans look at you, and some even pull out cameras to snap photos. It feels good to be getting positive attention from humans. They keep smiling, waving, and snapping pictures as you explore the city on your own. They've never seen anything like you before. You rest on a bench by a fountain and watch as humans and Pokémon walk by. It's not calm and quiet like the forest, but it still feels refreshing to you because it's something new and exciting. But all that peace comes to an end when you hear a human shout, "Porygon!" loud and clear. How could someone possibly know what you are? That's when you realize that the scientists have found you. All the photos from curious humans gave your location away. Before you have time to speed away or shift your appearance, a scientist throws a Pokeball at you. For a few seconds, you shrink and become trapped inside a small space. It feels like when you lived in the computer, and you don't want to go through that again. You move around as much as you can until the Pokeball bursts open before it can lock you inside. The scientists start yelling. One scoops a net around you, but you use conversion to turn into a fire type, burning through the net. Another scientist attempts to trap you underneath a metal container. Your fire isn't strong enough to break through, so you return to your regular form and consider your options. You hit your body against the container, but it seems too tough to break the force. But if you can escape a computer, you know you can escape anything. You focus your energy on your programming code, and then you zap your body back into the digital world, containing yourself inside a nearby Pokédex. You proceed to zap yourself back to the physical world again, only this time outside of your trap. Without wasting any time, you rush off toward the forest again. The scientists desperately try to keep up. They call to you, sounding more panicked with each breath. You try your best to ignore them, but then one of them mentions that they have an upgrade. You pause for a moment, curious about this strange term. You vaguely remember them talking about it in the lab. When you turn to look at the scientists, one of them holds out a strange little box. He explains that it will help you evolve, making you better and stronger. Of course, you're intrigued. You're already so powerful and unique. You can't even imagine what an evolved version of you would be like. You slowly inch closer to the upgrade in the scientist's hand. Like you, it's man-made. Not just that, but it was specifically made for you. It almost feels wrong not to use it. Just as you're about to touch the mysterious box, you back away. You like the life you've started, and you have so much left to explore. You're not ready to change yet. It's not worth the risk. You quickly float back into the forest without giving it a second thought. The scientists don't chase after you. Instead, you hear them yell in frustration, saying that they'll make more Porygon to replace you. After that, they stop chasing you down. You spend weeks exploring new places and meeting new Pokémon. You see grasslands, deserts, beaches, and snowy mountains. Every experience is fun, and you learn more about your powers along the way. Eventually, you wind up back at Silphco. Not inside, but on a grassy hill next to a window. During your adventures, you grew curious about what the scientists were up to, so you decided to see for yourself. When you gaze into the window, you see the computer that you once lived inside. On the screen, there are two Pokémon. One looks exactly like you, and the other looks like a Porygon with a smooth body instead of being geometrical. It's your evolution, Porygon 2. Your evolution is amazing. It looks like a version of you with the most cutting-edge technology. But you still have no desire to return to the lab to become Porygon 2. You're content with your life and your abilities. But it would be cool if there were more Porygon in the physical world to hang out with. As if on cue, you see a Porygon and Porygon 2 bouncing rapidly inside the computer like you once had, trying to escape. Electricity surges from the computer screen as the two Pokémon disappear. The electricity travels down the computer's cord until both Pokémon pop out into the real world. Just like that, there are more Porygon ready to explore the real world.